Ooh-wee, look at that tank. It looks amazing and perfectly fit with a nice new shiny garage. And it seems like this is possibly the standard garage, not the premium one, but the standard one. And now, I have a premium account here, but I have seen people without premium with this garage as well. So I don't know, maybe there's only one garage now. But let's focus on these tanks a little more. Now, in 9.0, they're adding a different kind of rendering, which is really going to make tanks look amazing. And it works the same way with all of your surroundings on maps and everything, all the scenery. So you'll notice everything's a little bit different. The colors are a little bit different. Grass will be a little bit different, have a different hue to it. Everything's pretty neat, and this tank model is pretty amazing. Now, right now, they've only actually redone in the high quality textures, HD textures, the T-54, the M4 Sherman, and the Tiger 1, which I'll show you all of which today, and I'll show you a side-by-side comparison to the ones on the live current current server running 8.11 at the moment, so you can see that, except for the Tiger 1 because I don't have that on that server. But here's the T-54 on this one, and I'll show you side by side right now what the T-54 on the other server looks like. So you can see there's a bit of a difference there. Very nice, and you can definitely see if we move the camera down here to look inside the barrel, this barrel has rifling, and it looks amazing right down until just about the end there, where it does come to an end when it meets the turret. But that rifling, that is amazing. That's a very nice touch. And you can see, I'll show you right now too, what the inside of the barrel looks like on this tank on 8.11, and it's just basically a little tiny hole in it. And the reason they did that is because then the tanks have less detail in them, and therefore they could have it run smoother on not as good a computers, not as high-end computers. Now they've also, you'll notice here, the wheels are quite round. If we look at an older model that hasn't been redone, what's a good example? Maybe the T29. Specifically one that's an older model, you'll see, look how square those wheels look. Now that's one of the things they changed with the T-54, the M4 Sherman, and the Tiger 1. So everything looks a little more rounded, actually a lot more rounded. So once this tank gets redone, you'll see that huge difference too. On the newer tanks that have been added in more recent times, this isn't quite as square. If I look at, for example, a T-57 Heavy, well, actually it is pretty much just as square. I was expecting a little bit better than that. So I'll show you the Tiger 1 here. Look at that. That is amazing. It is probably the nicest looking of the bunch, the new ones so far. All the way down the side panels here, you can see they're misaligned a little bit perfectly. This viewport looks like a nice solid chunk of steel. That's amazing. You can see there's little, I guess, little shell holes, little marks from different things hitting the tank. Scratches all the way down the side that you can see in just the right lighting. These tracks look amazing. They just shine and gleam perfectly, and of course I think this one has rifling too. Yep, not all the tanks will have rifling. So I think some of the guns on the M4 Sherman, for example, they just naturally didn't have rifling in them. Smooth bore, I guess is what it's called, smooth bore barrels. So that's neat, but it really does look like a nice hunk of metal, just like they said it would. And the detail in them is much nicer. You can see every bit of detail right down into these exhaust covers, I suppose they are, and you can see the dents in them. It's just amazing. It's the scuff marks everywhere. They look more like used tanks as opposed to the old models. They looked not new, but they didn't look as used. And even the old models that they still have in the game that they haven't added HD textures to, they look nicer. Let's see if I can find a good example. There's some. Alright, this one's got a few more scuffs to it. It's still the same tank model, it just has a different rendering technique that really brings things out. I'm trying to find, I can't remember which tank it was that I showed before, or that I was noticing before, that really had that good look to it. The SU-100Y, it's an older model, the wheels don't look quite as squared on them in a lot of places. It does have that rusty look. If I had the E100 here, which I don't, then it's got like rust marks dripping down the side already, and it's pretty cool looking, even though it hasn't been redone either. They're all pretty neat looking now, I must say. So I showed you the Tiger 1 and the T-54. I'll show you the M4 Sherman now. It too is a very nice looking tank now. There's more scuff marks. where they would be realistically scuffed. Everything just looks so shiny. I love the look at the back of this thing. It's just amazing. I just, my God, the back of this turret here, it looks like it's taken a, it almost looks like it's taken a few hits from something big, not a shell, but just impact. It almost looks dented there. I guess that's just how it was designed, but it looks just amazing. The scuffs and the scrapes and the all little divots in it just look amazing, and those tracks look so shiny. Oh man, it's like perfect. I can't wait until they add more tank models for the rest. Hopefully they do for the 9.0 release, because I really think that they will all look so amazing. I have seen them in videos to show the M103 all done up, and it looks amazing too. You'll notice that I'll show you a side-by-side picture right now from a battle replay showing it in 8.11 as compared to the exact same replay in 9.0, and you'll see that everything does look a little bit darker. The contrast of things is a little bit different in 9.0 as compared to 8.11, such as this FV. The FV has the darker camo looking now, and the Canadian flag, the decal on the side that you'll see on the side of the turret there, it looks a little more darker. So I'm not sure if that's all intended and how they want it to be, but they still got a little bit of tweaking to do, and that's pretty amazing. Now you can also get turrets blown off of your tanks now when they get ammo racked, and of course the ammo racks aren't that common, but the turrets can fly up in the air, they can land on the ground beside the tank, depending on how much ammo's in it. If the tank's out of ammo, the turret won't budge, and it takes the turret weight and all that into consideration and how much ammo's left in there. So the more ammo you have left in that ammo rack tank, the higher the turret will blow. So that's pretty amazing. I'll show you a quick little sample there, but I've got another video devoted just to that. I found 5 or 6 different ammo rack tanks earlier today. Spent like an hour and a half ammo racking tanks, and man, it took a long time to figure out the best way to do it, but once we did, we got like 3 in 15 minutes with just 2 of us in a training room, so not half bad. But everything just looks so much nicer, and as far as frame rate goes, there hasn't really been a big change. Everything's still surprisingly runs very smoothly even with the new tank models, and I'm not sure if multi-core support is in the game yet, but if it's not, then that's amazing because the performance is possibly increased already. So if you guys don't have a computer that can play this at max settings, then first off, get one. But if you don't worry, you're not going to be left behind in the dust. They haven't introduced the Havoc engine yet, which means that buildings don't dynamically crumble and the debris isn't left on the ground still, and there isn't pieces on the new tanks that'll let me pull up a tank, one of the new ones, the newly redone ones I should say. So on the Havoc engine, once they have that implemented, the gun on the top of this turret here, it'll kind of bounce around freely, and I don't know if these are fuel tanks or whatever on the back here, they'll kind of bounce around as you go over bumps, and any chains that are dangling from tanks, they'll kind of move around. But right now they have, I'll show you this right now too, the tracks, they all move independently, all the wheels in there move independently, so that's amazing. That works on all the tanks, not just the redone ones, and each wheel moves independently over bumps. Before it was just the front wheel and the back wheel determined where the middle ones would be, and they just follow in line in there. But it is amazing. Let's see. You can't yet have tanks flip over upside down. That's something they're going to be adding soon. Right now, there's still just the limit of 60 degree rotation maximum you can have in there. So I'm looking forward to that. Historical battles have been added. I've got a video coming out, or already out, one or the other, very soon for historical battles, and you'll see me take one. It was 9 of us in tier 5 and 6 vehicles versus 2 Tiger 2s, which are tier 8 vehicles. So you'll see how that went down. That's what historical battles are all about, because the Germans often in those real life situations were outnumbered, but they had better machines. And just the Russians, for example, could throw, or Americans, I guess, depends on what kind of battle you're looking at, what part of battle in history. They could just throw so many more tanks at the enemy, even though the enemy had better tanks and took less losses. The Germans took less losses, I mean. Let's see, so new vehicles. There has been a couple new vehicles added which I completely forgot about, so give me a second here to go research those. So they've added 2 different Panzer IVs this time, and that's because of the historical battles and different balancing things they need to do. So you'll notice that there's the 3 different ones here. One's a 3, one's a 4, one's a tier 5. So the tier 5 is the one that looks like the one we know and love, that I've personally never owned or driven before, so I'm not really an expert on these, and I won't pretend to be. The D variation looks similar, yet different, and the same kind of idea with the A, and of course they have their matching stats. And I'm not going to go through here and let you and show you the stats here, because you can check that out on the World of Tanks website easy enough. Remind me, and I'll put a link in the description for that. And they've also got the original Stug here, which again you'll know, and they have a new one here, which is, from what I've been told, an earlier version, a prototype of the first one. So this new one is a tier 4 and the original one is a tier 5, and it looks like it could be decent as far as stats go. It's got 50 millimeters of hull armor compared to 80 of the tier 5, which is understandable. And I'm sure the gun is similarly acting. Of course, you have various weapons to choose from, though, so I'm not going to get into which one's better. And of course, there's many new things they've added and changed in this version. They've reworked a bunch of new maps, 7 different ones to be exact. I've got a video for that you can check out. They've also reworked this whole graphics tab here, so now there's more settings to do with the color filter. You can change the filter efficiency there, adjust your gamma, of course, and field of view, that's a new thing. And you've got all this. You can lock your frame rate to a specific thing, although 60 is what you're locked to already if you have VSync enabled, most likely anyway. Graphics presets, and your details, your more specific graphic settings, so you can change everything individually if you want to. So I've got everything set to max here, so you guys can see everything amazingly clear. And really, these tanks need to be seen in the highest quality settings, because they are just simply amazing. I'm not sure if this is actually, it doesn't look like a high-res texture yet, but I'm sure soon enough we'll get it. But these new tanks, they look amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to check out my ammo racking video I've got out right about now, as well as the historical battle preview. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.